สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ As you can see by the title of the video, stop complaining. Now, complaining is a very interesting topic that I think is often overlooked. Because if we talk about personal development or working on ourselves, I think that one area where we can really we can all start to work on and see improvements in our life relatively quickly is if we were to practice not complaining or try to complain less, try to complain as little as you can. Because complaining drags in a whole bunch of other unhelpful thinking styles, unhelpful thought habits, unhelpful attitudes, unhelpful perspectives, and unhelpful ways of relating to your experience of life. And not only does it promote limiting beliefs, and we'll get to that shortly, but it really drags you down. It really drags you down. And how can you expect to cultivate and create better quality of your emotions, better relationships, better quality of your day and experience in each and every day if you continue to complain at all the small things in life, right? And I see that this is an area where a lot of people perhaps could work on. And I myself used to be a big complainer back then, and looking back now, I can start to appreciate how much more happy I am now that I'm not complaining, how much more freeing it is. I literally free up my own, time and energy, and I'm able to use that to focus on other things that are more helpful, more productive, more positive. Because you see, complaining in its very nature is interesting, isn't it? Because if you notice and self-reflect, a lot of people complain so much that it has become pretty much a habit to them. They have literally, in that sense, trained their own brain or trained their own mind to look at things through the lens of nitpicking, looking at what's wrong with something rather than what's right with something, looking at those small details and not being able to appreciate it, right? And in that sense, you could say, it feels addictive, complaining. It feels like an addictive habit. What I mean by that is when you complain, when your mind goes off on a tangent and looks at all the flaws, complains about a traffic jam, complains about the political situation, the economic situation, the pandemic situation, complaining about, not being able to travel, not being able to do this, do that, complaining about, your co-workers, your colleagues, your boss. The thing about that is you start to believe your thoughts. You start to identify with those thoughts. You start to identify and feel justified in your complaining, in your perspective. And that only produces unhappiness and limits you and locks you down towards that path, walking towards that path. And again, as I said earlier, how can you expect to cultivate better relationships, a better quality of your life if you continue to complain, right? And how does this relate to limiting beliefs? Because when you complain, you nitpick, right? That's essentially what it is. Oh, why is the traffic jam so bad? Oh, here comes the monsoon season again, rainy season. It's gonna flood, right? Oh, complain about this, complain about that. Why is my coworker such a bad person, such a useless person? Why is my boss such a mean asshole? Why is my girlfriend and boyfriend always so picky all the time? But you see, if we stop for a moment and really self-reflect here, be honest with yourself here, right? How is this serving you? And how is this complaining habit limiting you? Well, you could say it serves you in the sense that it makes you feel that you're able to predict how your day is going because you're just so used to complaining, seeing things through that way. I knew it. I knew something was going to go wrong. I knew something was bound to happen. You see? It serves you in that sense. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you start to believe in the bullshit of your mind that's always complaining. You look for something that's wrong in life, and of course there are over 1,000 reasons why something's going wrong at any given time, because that's just the nature of life. Then you tell yourself, see, that is, I knew it. You believe it. And it only produces more, it only strengthens that habit, only strengthens the way in which you look at life through that lens, through that habit. And if you start to complain more and more, of course you're looking in a negative light. Now imagine if you want to change jobs or quit that job and start your career business or career job, or do something that goes outside your comfort zone that you've always dreamed of. Do you think that if you've developed a habit of complaining, that you could switch and stop that, mental habit overnight and really pursue what you want to pursue in life, pursue your dreams? Of course, it would obviously be much more difficult. That's just one example of how complaining can translate to negative results in other areas of your life. And also, in terms of relationships, nobody wants to be around a nitpicker. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's complaining all the time. It really drags down the energy. It destroys the atmosphere. It destroys the mood. And so do be aware of that. So then how do you stop complaining? Well, first of all, whenever something that happens that does not go the way that you want and you feel an urge to complain, try to switch from complaining, switch it to coping. Cope with it. Try to accept what is. Accept reality just as it is, at least for the moment. I'm not saying to not take action to solve the problem. If a problem arises, yes, you can take action to solve it, but you don't need to complain along the way. You don't need to get upset along the way. You don't need to get angry along the way, right? Do what needs to be done and do the best with what you've got and leave it at that. Cope with any frustration, for example, that comes up in a traffic jam, in that example, if I may use that example, right? And once you cope, what you're doing is you're bringing your attention back inwards. Instead of looking outside to look at all that is wrong with life, and I'm sure you can find 1,000 reasons why, turn your attention inwards and contemplate on how you are feeling in this very moment. And cope with it. Tolerate it. Right? You'll soon realize that, wait a minute, you're still okay. You're still safe. You're still alive. And you didn't need to complain. And only then, when you're able to reach this point, does a choice arise for you. A new choice that arises for you. And you can actually begin to, instead of complaining, begin to appreciate other things in life. Okay, if you're stuck in a traffic jam, instead of complaining how, the commute to work every morning is such a pain in the ass, well, if you stop complaining, pause for a moment, turn inwards, cope with it, then you can perhaps learn to appreciate something. Well, you may be stuck in traffic, but you can appreciate that at least you can afford a car. You have a car to commute to work in, and that's something to appreciate and be thankful for. You see what I mean? And if you do this enough times, you're retraining your brain or retraining your mind to look at things with a more helpful lens. You're teaching yourself to look at rather than what's wrong, but look at what's right. And when you start to do this, doors of opportunity will open for you because you're training yourself to look at the possibility rather than the limitations, right? And you're training yourself to appreciate the small things of life. And therefore, as a result, you will allow yourself to be more happy. So, as food for thought in today's short video, stop complaining and practice appreciating the small things in life. Now, again, I used to be a big complainer myself back then, especially during my, university years. And evolving from that or getting out of that trap really feels empowering, because you free up so much of your time, energy, and resources to focus on something else, more positive, more helpful, more empowering, and on your dreams, pretty much, on what you want to achieve, on your goals. So, if you want to start personal development, seriously, stop complaining. I hope this was valuable for you. Do leave in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time. สวัสดีครับ